My marketing strategy has really not been not to have one, and I must say that's one of the reasons that I started working with Stephanie as my coach, because I really couldn't bring myself to sell myself, and I think it's something that I have in common with a lot of other people who start their own companies and whose product is themselves. So I developed a really rather successful company for cross-cultural management strategies, for diversity and inclusion and human resource management strategy, and wanted to work when I first established at a senior level, at a policy level, which means you have to get there. So the only way to get there is to have them accept you as a leading thought leader in this area and is really the content expert. So I gave some thought to that, and I must say Stephanie helped me a lot with this, and we came up with a strategy that worked very well for me. And that was to put yourself out there in a variety of streams. So I presented a great deal at conferences, both paid and unpaid. I made sure that I was probably attending and speaking maybe at a dozen conferences a year, really across the range, more or less roughly connected with my field, with human resources. I also wrote. I wrote about my subject matter online. I wrote in newspapers. I wrote in magazines. I just blind contacted, with Stephanie's pushing in the background, different papers. So I ended up, in the Wall Street Journal. I ended up in some very prestigious publications. I pursued my academic interests, so I also researched and wrote in academic journals on things of interest in my field, and all of these things led to an amazing Googleability factor, and that's something that Steph coached me on very well, is that people have to be able to find you and they have to be able to see you when they find you. So I didn't use one kind of strategy, I used many, and through all of these things I kept meeting more and more people, and I remember these people. I'd follow up and contact these people after I met them at a conference. I'd introduce them to other people who could be of interest and help to them. Sometimes it would take 5 or 6 years for that connection to kind of, well, pay off, if you will. I mean, I always felt it had to be selfless. It had to be not seeking benefit for yourself, and then it would come back to you and pay off in a big way. So yeah, so networks, connections, visibility, that was my marketing strategy, and it was the unstrategy.